Welcome back to Route Double. When we last left off, we were in Jun's backstory now. And things are moving forward dramatically. April 7th, 2021. The world was informed that 4 lives had perished in the Rokume Municipal Apartment gas explosion accident on that day. Nagisa's death was one of those tragedies. The debris that hit her head caused her to lose so much blood that she passed away in her sleep. Perhaps it was only a minor tragedy compared to the great Rokume City arson of 2014. But Jun had lost something irreplaceable on that day. Nagisa's funeral was held 2 days later. Though she was still recovering from her wounds, Jun forced herself to come. Oh. The sound of the sutras chanted by the Buddhist priest reverberated through the small funeral home. Jun just stood there in a daze as she listened to his voice. Nagisa's dead. Tears just won't come. She still couldn't believe that Nagisa had died. If I'd been stronger, then I could have prevented her from dying. But I saved her before the rescue workers got there. Feelings of powerlessness and resentment tormented Jun's heart. Kasumi was staring at Nagisa's casket with empty eyes. All emotion had been drained from her face. Nagisa didn't reply to her faint call. Jun felt her heart wrench as she watched Kasumi. It appeared Kasumi had much more trouble than Jun, accepting her beloved sister was now dead. Like, literally her last family? Her only surviving family member? Understandable. For a little while after that, Kasumi became mentally unstable. Jun first noticed sometime after she'd been discharged from the hospital. She had encountered Kasumi on her way home from school. Kasumi was walking around with the same empty eyes as during the funeral.
Kazami-chan, どこに行くの? ほら、Jun-chan. Nagisa, 見なかった?
Oh no.
え? あの子、なかなか帰ってこないの。まったく、どこに行ってしまったのかしら。
Of course it's gonna be unbearable. It's... Again, she's literally her only surviving family. She's the last of her family. Jun gasped as she saw Kasumi talking as though Nagisa were still alive.
Kazami-chan, Nagisa wa mou... もし見かけたら電話してね。もうすぐご飯の時間だから。
Kasumi walked off without hearing a word Jun had said. Same thing happened over and over again each time Jun saw Kasumi. Kasumi would always wander about the park Nagisa used to play in. It was like she hadn't accepted Nagisa's death at all. What do I do? Kasumi will never recover if this keeps up. But day after cruel day passed by as Jun remained at a loss for how she could help Kasumi. Then 2 weeks later or so, Jun kept the pain in her heart at bay as she headed to the park. Nagisa, tell me, what should I do? Jun looked to the heavens and asked, hoping her voice would reach Nagisa. It was at that moment that she spotted Kasumi standing at the edge of the park. When she spotted Jun, she walked over to her on unstable feet.
Ara, Jun-chan. Nagisa 見なかった? あの子、なかなか帰ってこないの。まったく、どこに行ってしまったのかしら。
Kazumi was saying the exact same thing she had the other day.
風見ちゃん。
Jun knew Kazumi's heart was in pieces. Her time had stopped the moment her sister had died. That sounds familiar.
早くあの子を見つけてあげないと。
Kazumi tried to walk off somewhere again with those words, but Jun called out to her.
もういいんだよ、風見ちゃん。え、探しても無駄なんだよ。どんなに探したって渚はもういないの。
Kazumi's face froze over at that moment.
何を言ってるの？死んじゃったんだよ、渚は。あの時の爆発事故で頭を打って。嘘よ。あの子は絶対にどこかで。嘘じゃない。風見ちゃんもお葬式に出たじゃない。私と一緒に渚にお別れしたじゃない。
Tears poured out of Jun's eyes in droves when she shouted that.
分かってよ、風見ちゃん。風見ちゃんが分かってくれないと渚も安心して天国に行けないよ。
It was with those words that Jun was also finally able to accept it. Nagisa was dead. She would never see that tender-hearted girl ever again. She and Kazumi were left behind in the world Nagisa was no longer a part of. Jun couldn't stop her tears from pouring out now that she had realized that. When she saw Jun's tears,
そう。あの子は死んだのね。
Kazumi also finally accepted reality.
とうとう一人になっちゃったわ。一人じゃないよ。渚もきっと天国から見守ってくれるよ。いえ、一人よ。ずっと二人きりで暮らしてきた。たった一人の妹なんですもの。渚がいないと私は。
Jun's words weren't reaching her. Jun desperately thought about how to move Kasumi's heart, about how she could support her. She soon reached an answer. When she did, she finally stopped crying.
風見ちゃん。
Jun told Kasumi her decision.
風見ちゃんを一人にはさせないよ。私が渚の代わりに風見ちゃんの妹になるから。え？渚とは全然違う可愛くない子だけど、私お姉ちゃんの妹になるから。だから純ちゃん、あなた。
Jun knew she could never in a million years replace Nagisa. When Kasumi heard her declaration, she gently embraced Jun and spoke.
ありがとう。
Jun became Kasumi's new sister from that day on. She would stop by Kasumi's house frequently after Nagisa's death. Occasionally she'd stay over and they'd spend the whole night talking to each other. In the end, it looked like her actions were worth it. Kasumi slowly began returning to the calm person she'd been before the incident. She soon quit her job at the flower shop and entered firefighting school. Nagisa's death had most likely driven her to desire a job that involved saving lives. Jun was against it, but Kasumi just wouldn't change her mind. Jun soon caved in and went from opposing her to supporting her. Kasumi then became a firefighter, and after putting in even more work, she became a rescue worker. All their sad and painful memories slowly faded with time. Jun deeply respected Kasumi for completely getting back on her feet and becoming the first female rescue worker in Rokume City Fire Department history. She sure is strong. I have to get stronger too. With Jun supporting Kasumi and Kasumi serving as a role model to Jun, two of them grew to have a mutual effect on each other. And one day, several years later, Kasumi asked Jun a question if they went out to the city on one of their days off.
ジュン、 あなた高校卒業したらどうするの？実はさ、私も消防学校に入ってお姉ちゃんと同じシリウス目指そうかと思ってるんだけど。なんですって？
Just as Jun had feared, a grim look adorned Kasumi's face after she'd heard Jun's nervous answer.
ダメよ、あなたじゃ危ないわ。命がけの仕事なのよ。お給料は安いし、仕事はきついし、出場かかるたびに地獄に飛び込んで。分かってるよ、そんなこと。でもお姉ちゃんだって私があんなに反対したのに消防学校に入ったじゃない。何年前の話をしているの？それとこれとは話が別です。別じゃないもん、同じだもん。ジュン、どうして？もしあなたまで失うことになったら、私は。
Jun knew Kasumi was truly worried about her. There was no chance she could yield to her. Jun always felt like her heart was being crushed every time she heard a siren go off in the city, or saw Kasumi come home from work hurt.
お姉ちゃん、私も同じ思いなんだよ。私だってお姉ちゃんのこと放っておけないんだから。それにさ、私ずっとレスキュー隊に憧れてたんだ。私の命を救ってくれたのはレスキュー隊の人だったから。そう、あなたがそう言うなら私はもう何も言わないわ。
Though she said that, Kasumi was clearly a little angry. Jun then tried buttering her up.
ねえ、お姉ちゃん。何？お姉ちゃんのピンチには私が助けてあげるからね。ありがとう。じゃあ、あなたが危なくなった時は必ず私が助けてあげる。
As long as she held on to those words, Jun felt like she could do anything. Yet about a year later, Jun followed through with her plans, first by enrolling in firefighting school. She graduated at the top of her class above all the boys who were there. Probably had the talent for it to begin with. Becoming a member of Sirius was far more difficult than becoming a firefighter. As a result, Kasumi, who had overcome many obstacles to become a rescue worker, was like an idol for the female firefighters of the Rokame City Police Department. Fire Department, sorry. I have to do my best so I can be just like Sis. So what if I'm a shrimp? Minus his effort, guts, and spirit. She kept training every day to compensate for her small body. Her peers were astounded by how she worked herself to the bone. By the time she could bench press 90 kilograms, do 250 push-ups, and run 1,500 meters in 5 minutes, no more obstacles remained in her path. And thus the second female rescue worker in the Rokame City Fire Department's history was born. Jun enlisted in Sirius on August 1st, 2030, where she was incorporated into the Tachibana party of Team A, commanded by Watase Kasasagi. He then easily completed several dispatches, waiting for the opportunity to truly shine. It wasn't long before that opportunity came knocking. December 16th, early morning, just when Jun's night shift was nearing its end. The ear-splitting scream of a dispatch siren screeched through the station. Explosions of unknown origin have occurred in the 6th Laboratory of Atomic and Biological Organization. Uh-oh. That ominous report. Curtain rose on the longest day of Jun's life. Jun and the others hurried on over to the dispatch site via helicopter after receiving that report. They received their orders from their commander, and LABO staff provided them with AD and Pro-Kins. The group was split into 2 teams before they entered the facility, Team A and Team B. Team A lined up in LABO's entrance hall before Watase, who proceeded to give them instructions.
現在このラボの中には無数の人が取り残されている。そして施設の性質上、これは通常の出場ではない。この現状では何が起こるかわからない。どんな不測の事態もだ。
Unforeseen circumstances. Radiation exposure, radiation damage, and death. Those phrases all clouded her head. It This was the first end disaster that Jun, or that the entire Rokume City Fire Department, had encountered. There was a possibility that a meltdown actually would happen. But I can't wuss out. I have to protect Sis. Come on, put some spirit into it, Jun. New orders from the commander and a map of floors 1 and 2 were sent to Jun just as she finished stealing her resolve.
司令長の得た情報によると、地下にいた研究員は全員すでに退避しているという話だ。取り残された者がいるとしたら地上階だ。その救助に当たれ。はい。
So how did they end up in the basement?
立花は森部と、堂島は檜山とツーマンセルだ。B チームとの連絡を欠かすな。連携を常に取り続けろ。では、総員突入。
おっす。
Jun ran off with Kazumi. They were equipped with the minimum gear necessary: air tanks, rope, and an engine cutter. Search of the surface floors went smoothly. There were no signs of fire on floors 1 and 2, so the evacuation of the survivors was smoothly completed.
地上2階、第2エリア、クリア。これで私たちの担当区域の捜索は終了だね。ええ、一度式場に戻りましょう。了解。
They lost contact with Watase, Tojima, and Hyama a little while back, so they planned to go back to the command post to check if they were all right. Then Kazumi suddenly came to a halt.
副隊長、どうしたの？今、誰かの声が聞こえたような。
Oh? Kazumi looked down the stairs and went down to the basement floors. Didn't they say they already finished evacuating the basement? Just as she thought that, Kazumi gasped. Eh? Jun then heard a voice coming from the basement. Oh, Natsuhiko. For a moment, Jun couldn't help but feel she'd heard that voice somewhere before. But then heard footsteps running off somewhere.
何今の？
Oh.
わかりません。地下から聞こえたような。え？
That was odd. There wasn't supposed to be anyone down there, according to the commander. Some people go down to the basement after the fire broke out? Why? Why would they do that? To get some top secret data or something? She didn't know why they would go down after the fire, or why they would run away from them. One thing was absolutely clear.
Moribe, 地下にまだ人が。行こう、副隊長。
But neither of them had a clue what was going on. They both headed down to the basement. There was no one to be found anymore at B2.
いない。どうして？探しましょう。まだ遠くには行っていないはず。
Jun and Kazumi ran through Area 2, looking for survivors. They were nowhere to be seen. They tried looking in Area 1 too, but no one was there. They reluctantly decided to head back to the surface. The Area 1 staircase was destroyed in a series of explosions. They tried looking for another way up, but their path was blocked with flames.
副隊長、こっちからも火が。モリベ、待ちなさい。一人で突っ込みすぎです。でも、先にこっちを消火しとかないと。
Jun took a fire hose and stood before the hallway. When her vision was filled with a jet of flames spurting from the fire. Kazumi saved Jun in the nick of time. Their protection suits were damaged in the process, rendering them unusable. Ah. Despite that setback, they just removed the suits and continued the search as they fought fires. All while fearing the meltdown that could happen at any moment.
戻ろう、副隊長。要救助者は第3エリア方面に逃げた可能性が高いよ。ええ。
Jun and Kazumi then returned to Area 2. Just as an ominous siren suddenly bellowed. The loud alarm was accompanied by an automatic PA announcement. Jun looked at the connecting passageway in shock. And it's gone. The security gate in their way closed with a loud boom.
まさか
Cosme ran up to the gate and tried opening it. No matter how much she tried to use the opening mechanism or how much strength she used, the gate wouldn't budge.
ってことこれどういうこと理由は分かりませんが避難モードが終わったようです。今まで開放されていたゲートも全部ロックされたかと。じゃあ、我々はこの塔に閉じ込められてしまったようです。
Jun started shuddering at Cosme's statement.
閉じ込められたってどうすればどうすれば決まってます。捜索を続行しましょう。要救助者も閉じ込められた可能性が高いですから。しかるの地に脱出口の確保。いや、その前にセキュリティカードの捜索ですね。やることは多いですよ。立ち止まっている暇はありません。そうだけど、どうしてそんなに落ち着いてられるの？防護服がない状態で原子力研究所の地下に閉じ込められたんだよ。慌てても事態は好転しませんからね。どんな状況でも冷静にやるべきことをやらなければ。
And what's cooler than cool? Ice cold!
それに私が慌ててたら
It is
あな
effective.
たも怖いでしょ。
Also, aww. Jun gasped at how simply Cosme had seen through her. The lieutenant then continued in a teasing voice.
あなたはまだ新米ですからね。私がベテランの矜持を見せないとチームが破綻します。そんな子供扱いしないでよ。別に怖がってなんかないし。本当ですか？当たり前だよ。私だってシリウスだもん。
Cosme smiled at Jun's words.
その元気があれば大丈夫そうですね。まあ、もし何かあっても私があなたを守りますから安心しなさい。それはこっちのセリフだよ。
Oh.
二人で力合わせて要救助者助けて、そして必ず一緒に生きて出ようね。
Jun and Cosme exchanged a firm handshake. They then walked off with strength in their step. Jun and Cosme found 2 level 2 security cards after that. They used those to search for an escape route and survivors as they put out the fires in the facility. They weren't able to find either, and just as they were about to finish searching areas 2 and 1,
あれはまさか隊長。
they found Watase lying in a hallway in Area 1. The 3 rescue workers then began their long and arduous battle through the facility. That moment, a floral scent suddenly wafted in from somewhere. Oh! The floral scent. Memories after this point were tampered with.
その記憶を修復すればジャンさんも元に戻るはずだよ。
Yeah. Natsuhiko agreed, resuming memory access. The search criterion was floral-scented memories. Oh. This is interesting. Alright, let's just start with the dark side of the moon. After they've reunited with Watase in Area 1, the group rescued Yuri, a civilian who'd been caught up with the accident. Watase had lost his memories. Jun hadn't especially liked him since he was always blunt and cold, but she was worried about him this one time. Be that as it were, they reformed the team and continued the search. They then saved a woman stuck in the connecting passageway between Areas 2 and 3. But she grew very angry after she was told about the situation and started harping on the group.
そんな核壁が閉まったってどういうこと？原因は こちらでもつかめておりません。そんなもの壊してしまえばいいじゃない。なんかこう特殊装備的なもので。
Now we have the context of Detective Anna trying to Metal Gear herself around some locked doors, but unfortunately she was too dummy thick and couldn't get through the vents.
私らも散々試したんだよ。
No
でも
comment.
エンジンカッターでも全く歯が立たないんだ。我々の装備ではあの隔壁の破壊は不可能です。レスキューってのも案外使えないのね。
These are gonna be some interesting choices.
確かに我々の装備では破壊できませんが、地上にいる隊員の装備の中には爆薬もあるはずです。いずれあの隔壁を破壊し増援が来ることでしょう。だから今はどうかご勘弁を。そう、仕方ないわね。
The woman let out an exasperated sigh.
あんたちょっといい加減にしなよ。え？助けられたんだからもう少し感謝したらどうなの？あら、何を言ってるの？人を助けるのがあなたたちの仕事でしょ。仕事でやっている以上助けるのが当たり前じゃない。
Jun was speechless. There were many who thanked them for their efforts. For rescue workers, that gratitude was the greatest reward they received for their hard and arduous work. Maybe I am being a bit full of myself for expecting a reward. She's going too far. And I mean, we aren't exactly rescued yet down here. We did pull you out of a vent, but you aren't exactly rescued yet. Jun was hurt by the woman's thoughtless words, and also felt extremely resentful towards them. Natsuhiko thought to himself as he finished viewing that memory. Was Professor Tsubakiyama always this nasty from Jun's perspective? Guess I have to increase her positive feelings toward Professor Tsubakiyama or it wouldn't work. Fair enough. Straight to the max. Oh. Wait, excuse me? Did that not change anything? Oh, we have to... I get it. We have to humble Jun some. So she's not going into this expecting that reward. Okay, that makes sense now. It was enough, though. Hey, got the crab lady.
Eh?
It seemed like she manipulated both Jun's reaction and Anna's reaction, which is different from the past. Natsuhiko repaired that false memory.
ちょっとあんたね。
Unable to sit back and let her continue berating them, Jun planned to give the woman a warning, but Kasumi held her back.
そんなことよりまずは AD を投与しましょう。
あ、そうか。そうしなきゃまずいぞ。
AD？ 何のこと？ AD というのはつまり
Kasumi explained AD to the woman. She also told her about the radiation filling the facility, the danger standards, and the Procyon. The woman's attitude took a complete 180 after she'd heard that.
放射線？ええ。なお、放射線障害の自覚症状は内臓、皮膚、目に現れやすいです。嘔吐感、皮膚の痛み、視界の霞みなどはありませんか？とりあえず大丈夫みたいだけど。
よかった。
今から AD 打てばきっと大丈夫だ。
でも早くした方がいいよ。そうしないとその憎まれ口も叩けなくなっちゃうから。
わかったわ。これを打てばいいのね。
そうそう、素直でよろしい。
She wasn't thrilled by the woman's attitude, but Jun decided to let it go for now. She felt that it was her natural duty as a rescue worker. Success. Shit. That's right, but now we can't change it. Okay, next. Is this the... Complaints aside, once Jun and the others rescued Anna, the Rokumi Academy teacher, they headed to the surveillance room in Area 3 where they encountered Ukita, a researcher. They then learned that Natsuhiko, Mashino, and Louise, the 3 high schoolers Jun had become acquainted with over the past week, were trapped in the facility. As a result, they focused their efforts on rescuing them. Limited AD, rising radiation levels, and no escape route in sight, the situation was extremely harsh. Teamwork was more essential than anything else at this point. Yet someone disrupted that teamwork.
Nani yo kemuri kurai. Rescueがへたれてんじゃないわよ。
That someone was none other than Anna. Jun had called the search to a halt when she'd spotted smoke filling the outer ring, only to get another earful from Anna.
あんたね、さっきから気になってたんだけど、素人のくせになんでそんな偉そうなの？
確かに素人だけどね。あなたも素人に毛の生えた新人なんでしょ？
素人に毛の生えた？バカ言ってんじゃないよ。私がシリウス入るまでどんだけ努力したと思ってんだ。レスキュー試験がどんな難関かあんたみたいな女にわかるもんか。
知らないわよ。っていうか知りたくもないわ。普通男がなるような仕事に就く女の気持ち全然わからないから。私もあなたが男だったらこんなに突っかからないわよ。でもこの状況下で女の、しかも新人のレスキュー隊員に命預けなきゃならないなんてついてないわ。なんであなた女なのにレスキュー隊員なんてやってんの？
Jun heard her heart pound violently at those words. Ever since Nagisa's death, Jun had dedicated herself solely to being a rescue worker, not once looking back on her decision. And she had finally achieved that dream after impressing her peers with all that hard training and work she had endured. Now that she mentions it, maybe it wasn't exactly what you'd call a healthy way of living, but still. Unpleasant emotions welled up in her chest, right as she was about to say all of what was on her mind.
どうした？
モリベ、何を騒いでいるのですか？
I do remember this scene with them blowing up at each other, and Watase coming in to resolve it. Watase, Kazumi, and Yuri came running over. Thanks to that, she avoided getting into a rather decisive quarrel with Anna. The silent resentment for Anna began to ramp its way around Jun's mind. Natsuko thought to himself as he finished viewing that memory. Feels like Jun's confidence took a bit of a blow there. You have to adjust her feelings to put things back to the way they were. It is seriously a surgical dissection. Going through those memories. Okay. What happens if we take Anna to half and keep Jun at max? Oh. Natsuhiko repaired that false memory. Jun could tell she was trying to rush the search along because she was really worried about her students. As a rescue worker, I just can't accept that. Watase, Kazumi, and Yuri came running over just as Jun thought that.
どうした？
モリベ、何を騒いでいるのですか？
あ、副隊長。 この先の外周灯に煙が漂ってたんだ。火の気があるっぽいんだよ。でも部屋がたくさんあって火元がわからないから、椿山さんたちを安全なところで待機させようとしたんだけど。
バカ言ってんじゃないわよ。火の気があるからこそ全員でさっさと捜索すべきでしょ。
And we're back in the normal train of thought. Anna started yelling again.
死にたいんですか？死にたくなければ黙って言うことを聞いてください。
But she was rendered silent by Kasumi's blunt words.
私はただ捜索を手伝おうと。言葉がきつかったことは謝ります。椿山さんのお気持ちも嬉しく思います。ですがどんな小さな火も侮ってはいけません。災害現場では我々の判断を信じてください。我々の任務は全員を無事にここから脱出させることなんです。
Please, let us do our job. Not even Anna could resist caving in to Kasumi's kind yet firm appeal.
分かったわよ。プロにお任せするわ。
Jun was impressed. That's this for you. She managed to persuade Miss Tsubakiyama so calmly in less than a minute. We should follow her example. Resolve to deal with these situations more like Kasumi in the future, with a more level head. That was simple. And finally, Dojima and Hiyama. The facility was full of countless dangers, such as radiation, fire, and explosions. You can regroup with Dojima and Hiyama as soon as possible. She would feel much more at ease if they were able to rendezvous with Dojima and Hiyama, two co-workers. They finally found Dojima. It was almost beyond recognition. The tragic sight of that room had done a serious blow to Jun, Watase, and Kasumi's willpower. They were still short on AD and the time was wasting away by the second. They overcame their comrade's death and continued the search. Managed to make their way through a gas-filled zone and turned on the sprinkler system. Jun and the others decided to take a short break in the little time they had from then until the system finished its job and the gas had ventilated.
モリベに先生、体の調子はどうだ？
Ouch, Jesus. Dropping shit outside.
ちょっと指先がしびれるけど平気だよ。
私ももう少し休んだら問題なさそうだわ。私も問題ありません。例の肌がしびれるような感覚等も AD を投与したら消えました。
Watase, Jun, and Anna. Let's leave things as they are.
でも安心はできないぞ。
Watase glanced at his ProCat and said that.
見ろ。現在3090ミリシーベルト。遠からず第一危険基準値の4000ミリシーベルトを超えそうだ。
天川君たち AD を持っていればいいけど。
そうだね。今は自分のことよりあの子たちが心配だよ。
Oh, the default answer was the right answer? I want to see the not right answer first.
例の肌がしびれるような感覚等も AD を投与したら消えました。私も問題ありません。例の肌がしびれるような感覚等も AD を投与したら消えました。
Generally don't know what the wrong answer is in this case. We'll try this.
Tenkawa君たち AD を持っていればいいけど。
そう
I
だ
don't
ね。
understand, but
今は
okay.
自分のことよりあの子たちが心配だよ。
Unless this is all the wrong answer.
そういえば森部はあの高校生たちと知り合いだったな。じゃあほとんど他人じゃないか。
Is this one where we'd have to lower Anna's senses level, like, to the minimum, just to get the normal ending for this? Natsuhiko repaired that false memory. Jun's eyes widened at those words. She's worrying about her students first, even though she's also in danger. She may be harsh and too critical, but she really is a teacher, huh? Jun felt like she could understand Anna's heartfelt concern for Natsuhiko and her other students. Jun comes to her senses and promptly finds Anna pointing a gun at her, being a badass detective instead of a teacher who she respected. Whoops! But we've been fighting with each other so much, so it's kinda awkward to admit that. Jun struggled with her conflicting emotions, but Watase spoke up first.
先生、そう焦るなよ。空のメディカルケースや使用済みの AD があったってことは、彼らは彼らで AD を入手している可能性が高いってことさ。
Ooh, nice support, Captain. Jun decided to quickly follow suit.
そうだよ、椿山さん。急ぎすぎても危険なだけだよ。今はまず体を休めよう。
そうよね。椿山さん、本当はかなり辛いのではありませんか？
正直それなりにね。走り詰めで疲れが溜まってきてるし、もうどうしてこんなことに。昨日までは平穏の中にいたのに、人生一寸先は闇ね。
Anna said that in a choked voice. Jun felt sympathy welling inside her. Alright, this is where I've got to play it cool and act like a rescue worker.
ねえ、椿山さん、暗い話はやめようよ。私たちは必ず椿山さんも生徒たちも助けるからさ。
ごめんなさい。ちょっと弱気になっていたみたい。もしこんなところで死んでしまったらなんて思うと。
やめろよ、縁起でもない。
そんなことを言ってはダメですよ。弱気は危険を倍化させます。
まったくだよ。ここで誰かを死なせるつもりなんて私にはさらさらないからね。
強いのね、3人とも。ごめんなさい。今までいろいろ失礼なことを言って。あなたたち、さすがはレスキュー隊だわ。私は何の役にも立たないくせに口ばかり達者で。
いや、その、いいんだよ、気にしないで。
でもこれからは皆さんの言うことを聞くようにするわ。
Anna smiled apologetically. That smile alone made Jun want to forgive her for everything she'd said up until now. Yeah, Miss Tsubakiyama may be a bit full of herself, but when you get down to it, she's just a civilian. I can let a little selfishness slide. Jun decided to switch to that way of thinking. She had agreed about letting the minor details go and treating those who were cooperative with kindness. Yeah, in a high-pressure rescue situation, those who cooperate likely the ones who deserve. Because they make a rescue worker's life that much easier, I'd imagine. And Hiyama time. Finishing their break in the engine room, Jun and the others hid their exhaustion and pressed on. They continued to search the facility for the survivors that were almost certainly there. Then, as if to crush those hopes, they discovered yet another victim. It was the final member of Team A, Hiyama.
ダメだ。もう死んでる。
そんな檜山先輩まで。
Kazumi spoke bitterly to the utterly speechless Watase.
殉職はこの仕事をしている以上避けられないことではあります。
しかし立花、
何も言わないでください、隊長。悲しむのは要救助者を助け外に出てからにします。
Kazumi's noble words just served to pierce through Jun's heart.
ほら、森部も。
だけど私現状で動揺を失ったの。今日がそれがこんな立て続けに。
Oh wow.
分かってます。ですがちゃんとしなさい。シリウスに入った時に女は捨てたはずでしょ。
でもお姉ちゃん。
Jun said that in a frail voice like that of a normal girl. Why is everyone around me dying? Jun thought to herself. Watase suddenly spoke to her.
しっかりしろ、ジュン。
Before she even realized what was happening, Watase had wrapped his arms around. Oh. That completely unexpected embrace left Jun at a loss for words.
何してるの隊長。
いいからそのまま聞け。仲間を2人も失ってしまったことは確かに辛い。記憶のない俺でさえ。お前が怯えるのもわかる。お前はなんだかんだ言っても女の子だ。
Ah, okay, now I see why.
でも今はこんなことを言うの
Oh
は
no.
厳しいと思われるかもしれ
Oh
んが。
no. Okay, now I see why
泣いてる時
that's.
じゃないんだ。
Hmm.
そんなことじゃお前まで命を落とすかもしれない。俺はもうそんなのは嫌だ。お前を失うなんてごめんだ。だから気を強く持ってくれ。
Watase then whispered into Jun's ear.
頼むよ、ジュン。気をしっかり持たないとヤバそうなんだ。檜山は足を骨折しているだろう。あれがただの事故によるものじゃないとしたら。
Okay, now we're getting into the sus memories.
堂島を殺したやつと同じ犯人にやられた可能性がある。
Paranoia rocking through her veins. I was starting to scream that was definitely the point when we knew we had fucked up. When Watase started saying, "After all, you're just a girl." Which is obviously one of Jun's insecurities. She wants to be strong. She wants to be taken seriously as a member of this team. So,
立花の手前、それを蒸し返すのは控えたが、やっぱりこの施設の中には殺人犯がうろついているかもしれないんだ。そいつからも身を守らなければ、本当に。
わかったよ。
Jun replied with as much courage as she could muster. Watase then answered her in a kind voice.
よし、いい子だ。
Patronizing.
でももし殺人犯に遭遇したら、その
状況次第だが、俺なら叩きのめすだろうな。
レスキュー隊員が暴力を。
バカ、そんなこと言ってる場合か。相手は殺人犯なんだぞ。もしみんなを守るためにそうするしかなさそうだったらやむを得ないだろう。
そうか。みんなを守るために。
That's where that mindset came from.
だがそれは男の役目だ。
Oh no.
お前は敵に遭遇したら逃げろよ。
Okay, this memory is a whole mixed bag of fucked up.
うん。
Watase then let go of Jun, then thought to herself while feeling the lingering sensation of his whispers in her ears and the warmth of his arms. I don't know if that killer is still here in this facility. If I ever find them, do I have to fight to protect everyone? Her job as a rescue worker was to protect lives. Perhaps she needed to get her hands dirty to accomplish that job. After all, 2 of her squadmates had already been killed. No, I shouldn't think about that yet. Until I'm sure that there's actually a killer here. Jun then changed track to thinking about something else. Pitch black will had begun to manifest in the depths of her heart. Natsuhiko thought to himself as he finished viewing that memory. Kind of a subtle alteration this time around. Should I adjust things so her feelings are more in tune with those of a rescue worker? That was the state of Jun's altered memories. This would be enough to bring Jun back to normal. There was still one other thing that he had to do first. Erase the phantom subject N that was nesting in Jun's brain. She's probably just up ahead. Around that memory of finding subject N's body by the cargo lift. Simpy for the devil. Alright.
それがこんな立て続けに。
Selfless save the others? Yeah, there we go. Natsuhiko repaired that false memory. Jun thought that a cold voice called out to her.
ちょっとあなた、いつまでメソメソ泣いてるの？
Eh? Oh no.
お仲間が亡くなったのは気の毒だけど、レスキュー隊がそんなことじゃ私たちも困るわ。
Oh no.
それにほら、相変わらず AD も足りてないし。
Jun was utterly speechless at how callous those words had been. The others all started speaking before she could.
確かにこのまま AD の投与時間が来たら我々も彼と同じ運命をたどることになるな。
Oh wow.
私死にたくないです。
Jun let out a faint protest, but Watase and Kazumi.
みんなの言う通りだ、モリベ。泣いてても事態は好転しない。
Wow, that changed.
そうですね。こういう時にこそ心を強く持たなければ。
Those words hit Jun like a slap to the face. She thought they were all being way too cold, but they're right. Be no different from a normal girl if I break down here. Jun put on a brave face and spoke.
そうだね。いつまでも落ち込んではいられないよ。
She decided to listen to her own advice. I'm a rescue worker. Gotta be strong. This is horrible. Is this the altered memory that caused Jun to change so much? Anyway, I've got to adjust her desire to protect everyone. That got worse than the original failure state.
それがこんな立て続けに。
Okay, let's go with the original setting. Everyone's maxed. Oh, okay. Yep, okay, we're getting there. Let's sis. Why is everyone around me dying? Okay, so we're gonna fix this modification now. It feels like these last memories are the most complex in terms of variation. They also have the most profound impact. Natsuhiko repaired that false memory. Could be that both Sis and the captain are also. The radiation levels throughout the whole facility were already past 3,000 millisieverts. It is scalar value, officially, but we don't know that yet in this canon. kept on rising, then no amount of AD they took could guarantee their lives anymore. In the first place, they didn't even have enough AD at the moment. Everyone here could die. I'd be broken down to my genes too, all battered and dead in this dark basement. Just as Jun thought that,
立花、森部、ちょっといいか。
Watase suddenly spoke up.
リーダー交代だ。ここから先は俺がみんなを率いる。
隊長？
お前たちが落ち着くまでの一時的な交代でもいい。もろもろのサジを肩代わりするのでもいい。聞けないか？それじゃ命令する。シリウスの隊長としてな。原告をもって立花風見副隊長、森部準隊員は笠崎渡瀬隊長の指揮下に入れ。
Yes. Jun Kazme's body shook at those words. It's like Watase was back to being the man he was before he lost his memories.
副将！
Jun and Kazme instinctively clicked their heels and replied in response to that command.
立花風見副隊長、笠崎渡瀬隊長の指揮下に入ります。
森部準隊員、隊長の指揮下に入ります。
よろしい。
Bad smile. Watase gave a broad grin and continued.
なんてな。まあ形だけのもんだ。基本的には今まで通りで頼む。
いえ、お願いします。
よし。じゃあせっかく手に入れたレベル6のカード、それを使って前に進もう。檜山が残してくれたんだ。無駄にしちゃいかん。
Yama left that card for us. Those words reignited Jun's spirit. She managed to recover just as she was about to fall off the brink of despair.
そうだね。いつまでも落ち込んではいられないよ。火は消えた。カードも見つかった。だからもう第6エリアまで私たちを遮るものはない。
そうだ。その意気さ。
Watase grinned and patted Jun on the shoulder. She could feel the strength and warmth of his hand through that gesture. That's right, we're still alive. It means we've got to do everything in our power to survive. Jun looked at Hiyama's body. His legs had been broken, he'd caught on fire, and he most likely had spent his last moments in utter despair. Despite all that, he still tried to survive. He would never come back. He had left their group the key that they needed to keep moving forward. And that key lay what was most certainly the will of someone who had lived to their fullest. Those who had been entrusted with that will would accept it and carry it with them for the rest of their lives. Much like how it was Nagisa's existence that had brought Kasumi and Jun to where they were now. Thanks, Captain. And thank you too, Hiyama. I'm still alive and will do everything I can to survive until the bitter end. Thus, she would use her life to accomplish what had to be done. Saving human lives. That's right, that's the whole reason I came here, after all. Jun clenched her hands into tight fists when she thought that. Success. Well, those corrupted memories have been purified. Right. And Natsuhiko continued reading Jun's memories. I think when she entered a contaminated zone, found AD, helped the rest of the group save Yuri when she was almost crushed by falling debris in the factory. Finally, when she watched them force open the gate to the cargo lift with a crane. Yes, this is it. This is where that memory is.
よーし、じゃあ私が先に入って安全を確かめよう。
Oh, and she was the first. Okay. We're gonna save that for next video. But first, we actually have a tip to read. The Heart Sutra. The name varies by sect, but in Japan it is also called the Busetsu Maka Hanya Haramatashin Gyo Sutra. Oh my god. The Busetsu Maka Hanya Haramatashin. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this. Just wait. Busetsu Maka Hanya Haramatashin Gyo. Busetsu Maka Hanya Haramatashin Gyo Sutra. Close enough. The Maka Hanya Haramatashin Gyo Sutra and the Hanya Harmatashin Gyo Sutra. Hanya is the kanji notation for the Sanskrit prajna. It has little to do with the female demon Hanya mask used in No theater. Prajna means wisdom, mainly the perception of the truth of reality and the enlightenment necessary to rid oneself of worldly desires and attachment. The Heart and Heart Sutra is a translation of the Sanskrit Hridaya, which can also mean the core, most important part of something. It is a short sutra of less than 300 characters, and as it condenses the over 600 verse Great Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, the Heart Sutra is widely used in the Tendai, Shingon, and Jodo sects of Buddhism. With use of voice data technology today, anyone can easily participate in this pious act. Binaural recordings of the sutra, in particular, seem to be gaining prominence. You can probably get binaural recordings of sutras and stuff now, so to speak. The future is now. Right. I'm gonna save here. Again, it feels like there's potential for bad endings when you go visit Subject N without purifying all the malice-corrupted memories. I also feel like it's quite interesting that there's a lot in this path that puts suspicion on Enna. And you can actually amplify that, it feels like. So I feel like there's a bad end to be had in terms of amplifying aggression towards Enna and then finishing Subject N. I don't know, I haven't tried yet back with Ukida's, but I feel like there's where we're gonna get our bad ends from. Might just try and go back and muck around with them just to see if that's the road to bad ends. Let's see. Feels like we have a long way to go, but so I'll kind of want to go back and try and just get some bad end recordings in the books while I can. So on that note, until next time. Well, next time, we'll be seeing Subject N again. Until next time, until then.